The City of Waterloo, in cooperation with its many active and inspiring entities, presents Heart for the City, a chance to hear and see what's going on in our city and to meet people who serve you, teach you, entertain you, help you, all neighbors and like you. Make this a city on the move. And now, here's our host, the Honorable Quentin Hart.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on Heart for the City. I'm Quentin Hart, proud Mayor of Waterloo. Is anything happening in Waterloo? According to a recent article in the Courier, a surge of new storefronts are popping up along both sides of the river. And according to Jessica Rucker, Executive Director of Main Street, since last year, 15 businesses has opened in downtown Waterloo. But I want to change that number because as of last month, we probably have seen more than 20 or so businesses open up in downtown Waterloo. So what is behind this trend? Maybe it has to do with the fact that Forbes magazine in 2017 ranked Waterloo number 35 for best small places for business and careers. Now, there are a myriad of different activities for people of all ages, so bring the kids, your friends and neighbors, your parents, your date, or dates, your date. The only thing you can't do in downtown Waterloo is to be bored. In Waterloo, we also find ways to help others and provide hope for the future of those who at one time fell on hard times. More about this coming up. Stay with us.
Getting healthy has never been easier with a membership at Cedar Valley Sportsplex. Offering 80 free classes a week at all skill levels, there's always new and fun opportunities to grow. You never have to miss out on your favorites with our state-of-the-art facilities, featuring great exercise equipment, a track and field, pool, and 2 regulation gyms. So whether your game is football or pickleball, let the Cedar Valley Sportsplex turn your routine into something amazing.
Welcome back to Heart for the City. Recently, Waterloo's House of Hope completed its move into a remodeled facility in the Church Road neighborhood on West 4th Street. The new location allows House of Hope to serve more women and their children who have found themselves in homeless situations. This new facility is a great improvement for an organization that provides inspiring public service. And the way the community responded makes me very proud. And here to tell us more about this amazing organization is Karin Rowe, Executive Director of the House of Hope. So welcome, Karin, and congratulations on being a 2017 recipient of the Courier's 40 Under 20 Award.
Thank you.
I remember I won that like 20 years ago, though.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, so that means I'm more than 40, but anyway, so congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
Karin, tell us a little bit more about your background and how you became associated with the House of Hope.
Yeah, well, so my degree is in music, so as you can see, I'm very qualified for my position.
Absolutely.
Now, I became a music director for at-risk youth. Back quite a long time ago, and I'll never forget in the middle of a music conservatory, all the kids just falling apart and sharing what's going on in their home life. And I remember thinking, no matter what happens here, I can't fix it. They're all going back home. And that was the point for me where I realized that I needed to do something, and I didn't know what that was. So years later, I moved to Waterloo, Iowa, and I was working for the Salvation Army. And then I heard of this place called House of Hope where they work on supporting the mom so that she can provide a safe and stable environment for the kids so that they can grow up safe and good and look towards their future, and I needed to be part of it.
Right, so absolutely amazing story and transition because so many of our young people may come to school and they may act out a certain way, and people really don't even understand what some of those young people have gone through just to get to school and then to think about homework. And so teachers, whether music teacher or social studies, are sometimes asked to step way outside of that role and to look into those situations. So you decide to be proactive and help on the other side. But when we talk about House of Hope, you mentioned a couple things about families, but what all do you do there?
Yeah, so I always like to say, we provide a support system and cheerleaders for these moms. They come into us where they are unemployed and homeless, struggling to maintain housing, and we help them just break down these barriers one at a time. So by the time they leave, they're completely self-sufficient.
Right.
They either have the education they need or the employment that they need in order to support their family. They've got, childcare figured out, reliable transportation, all of the things that, we need just to maintain sometimes that are by themselves just completely out of reach.
And some of the things that some of us take for granted every day, we are able to drive the cars we want to do the things we want to, but that's not the situation for everyone, and a lot of good people lack particular resources. And what's interesting, your old location is the home of what will be a supermarket. And how did you end up at this location?
Well, so a very generous family in our community had this building that was passed down to them from their father.
Wow.
And they didn't want to just sell it. They didn't want to let it sit. What they wanted to do with it was provide good in the community that would serve the people in this community. So they reached out to House of Hope and said, we know that you need to expand and we have the place for you, and would you like to have this building? And so that was such a huge blessing. So much space, 15,000 square feet. And we were able to move from 10 apartments to 15.
Right.
And then still have one of our old buildings and open a prevention program within that.
And also, this took more than a couple days, didn't it?
Yeah,
Tell us, how long did it take to get completed?
Well, the construction itself, we started the asbestos abatement in July of 2017, and we moved in June of 2018. So almost a full year. Now there was a lot, before that, but we were still raising money, we were still getting things. So we had volunteers that came in and started doing some demo and stuff beforehand, but we really couldn't do anything until last July. So about a year.
And you said that you've gone from 10 spots to 15. Can you tell us about the families that actually come to there, stay there, live there?
Yeah, so all of our families come from completely different walks of life. They're all at a different stage, and they have families that look differently. So we'll have a pregnant mom, or we'll have a mom with 6. So they're all completely different, but they're all struggling to maintain housing. They all want to be self-sufficient, and that's the number one thing in our program. They're willing to do what it takes in order to get to the point where they can pay the bills.
And one of your quotes are, "Barriers are meant to be broken." What does that mean?
We can all see barriers in our way. We can all look up and look around us and see things that could hold us down. But we all have it within us in order to break those and still reach for where we want to go.
Right.
And all of our families, that's what they're doing. They're reaching past, they're taking those obstacles that are thrown in their way and saying, that's not going to control me.
Right.
That's not going to decide my path.
Right, and you have Pillars for Service. Pillars for Services, I think?
Pillars,
Pillars,
yes.
Pillars. What does that mean?
So Pillars is our new program. We actually just opened it the other week, and it is transitional housing for young ladies aging out of foster care. We see a huge hole there, and it's also the highest at risk for later becoming a homeless single mother. So we thought if we can start reaching out to these young ladies and support them before they hit crisis, support them now and help them gain that foundation that later on, they won't have to end up as a homeless single mother, but instead be able to raise their families on a solid foundation.
And over the years since you've been there, how have the programs expanded?
Well, I've actually been there for 2.5 years, and we've gone through quite a bit of expansion just in that time. So just from the 10 families in our 2 buildings, which was essentially the same program that we had, to our 15 families in a location where we have better service. We've got 3 bus stops within a couple walking distance. We have more partnerships with local businesses that are willing to employ our women, and then opening up the prevention program and making sure that we're fighting the problem on both ends, not just after it happens.
And when you take a look at House of Hope 2020, 2021, what's the vision for the future?
Well, actually, I'm going to start with House of Hope in 2038.
Okay.
And my vision is that we will switch buildings and we will be all prevention and
Wow.
very little families.
Right.
Because I feel like that is a possibility that we don't always have to wait for people to fall. We can
Right.
catch them first.
Absolutely.
So that's our long-term vision. When I look at 5 years out, I would love to see House of Hope having a business where they can employ the women
Right.
just for a few months and start working with that immediate need of employment and soft skills and job training
Right.
so that they can go out and get quicker into the careers and paths that they want to be in.
What is that? If you feed a person fish one time, you feed them, but if you teach them how to fish, you feed them for a lifetime.
Yes.
So I'm kind of hearing some of that same vision that you have for the people that you're working with. So, Karin, we want to thank you, and thanks to all your staff and volunteers that make the House of Hope such a success. Helping people in the way of House of Hope, in the way that House of Hope does, provides benefits for individuals, but also benefits for the entire community. Seeing this project come together with strong community support is another situation that gives all of us hope. So be sure to come back in the future with updates on the meaningful projects. As we have seen, assisting mothers finding the road to self-sufficiency has become Karin's passion. We wish her well as she continues that mission. Don't go away. We'll have more after this.
When I ride my bike, I am always very careful and stay safe at all times. I always wear a properly fitted helmet. I check the safety lights in the front and back of my bike, and no matter where I ride, I keep an eye out for cars, even when riding on the sidewalk. This message is brought to you by Drive Safe Cedar Valley.
Welcome back to Heart for the City. Before we start, I would like to acknowledge that the Waterloo Police Foundation and Waterloo Police Department is hosting the annual Sergeant Greenlee Cadet Academy. Within 1.5 hours after the Academy program was announced, the enrollment was at capacity. The Academy is for kids entering 5th through 7th grades who, as cadets, will learn about crime scene investigations, the tactical unit, police K-9s, major case investigations, and more. The Academy is named for the late Sergeant Robert Greenlee III, who passed away in April of 2018. Sergeant Greenlee dedicated his career to shaping young minds and being an incredible role model. His passing was a tragedy, but his name and memory live on in the Sergeant Greenlee Cadet Academy. The mission of the Waterloo Police Department is to vigilantly protect, serve, and work together with our community to prevent crime and enhance the quality of life in our neighborhoods. To tell us more about how this mission is fulfilled, Lieutenant Aaron McClelland, Waterloo Police Investigator. Welcome, Officer McClelland.
Welcome, glad to be here.
So please tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you get into police work?
My mom probably has been trying to talk me out of it for about 44 years now,
Okay.
and some change. But as a child, I wanted to be a police officer. As I grew up, we lived in Cedar Falls, and we had a deputy that lived across the street from us, who actually still is working at the sheriff's office now, Steve Peterson. And through interactions with him, interest, I got into college and ended up testing with Waterloo, and I've been here since December of 1997. So.
Wow.
Been here a while.
Yeah, that's more than a while. That's
a while.
few. but when I think you're also known as an investigator. What does an investigator in department? What does that mean to the department?
Well, I'm the lieutenant in investigations. The investigators are actually, I call my job superhero support for those guys because they're constantly busy and they're constantly working on case after case after case. But an investigator in our department is not a specialized investigator. We don't have a homicide investigator, a robbery investigator. All of our investigators have caseloads that are unimaginable because they have to take the cases that patrol officers can't handle or do follow-up on. So we work every kind of case, whether it's a property crime or a crime against person, and we don't get to pick and choose those. So they're very busy.
And what personnel comprise the investigations division?
The division itself, we have investigators, obviously our criminal investigators. We also have the crime lab. Investigations also encompasses the SRO division. We have ICAC investigators, DART, and then we have obviously our computer and forensic stuff that goes on through there.
And to become an investigator, how does that happen?
Our department offers an investigative position or any position within the police department to any officer that shows interest in it. So after 2 years of service on the department, you're able to put in for different areas within the department. Then there's a process in which we go through and we choose those people.
And you mentioned just a couple seconds ago about sometimes a case rises to where you need an investigator to take over, but are there breakdowns? Are there major crimes versus minor crimes, or what are major
Well, any major crime is going to be your homicides, obviously, robberies. There's some financial crimes that would rise to that level. We've got major burglary cases that we've worked in the past. So any case can technically be a major crime, but the top shelf and the ones that are probably the hardest to work are those homicides, robberies, and crimes against persons.
And when does the investigative unit get called into action?
It can be any time, really. A lot of times during the day when we have investigators in the building, and even at night when we have investigators in the building, if certain crimes happen, our investigators will hear that on the radio, and they will head out to that scene to see if they can assist. There's other times where investigators have went home, gone to bed, labs went home and gone to bed, and a major crime comes in, and we are called back into work. And we get those calls quite frequently, sadly.
So it's a 24-hour job around the clock, potentially. And is it common for investigators to work with the DCI, the Sheriff's Office, the FBI, but a number of different agencies?
We have worked cases where it was multi-jurisdictional. There have been cases that the DCI has come in and helped us with, and we've helped other agencies as well. It's not as common as people would think, but we do work with all those agencies, especially when it comes to intel gathering and information sharing.
Right. And tell us a little bit about the domestic abuse response team.
Okay. Our DART team consists of an investigator.
I didn't just say DART. I had the domestic, but for folks that are listening, for
the DART team, Domestic Abuse Response Team. We have an investigator. We're also we collaborate with the county attorney's office and victim advocates, in an effort to bring those cases to a close and get a prosecution of those suspects for the victims. We also offer them victim services in several respects to hopefully educate them and their families and hopefully not ever be a victim again.
So this is something that's helping them after a situation to become more proactive, to change what happens to them in the future in those situations and make good decisions. But I was also wondering too, are there any other innovative approaches that are used?
Throughout the last several years, the DART team had come up with a lethality score, and I know that sounds horrible, but what it is, it helps judges and probation officers come to an understanding of if that suspect is more apt to reoffend or not to reoffend. And that was a big thing that has come down through the DART program. There's many things that they do for the victims and their families, but that really helps the judges and the probation to understand.
And then you mentioned a little bit earlier about SROs, or school resource officers. What does that program entitle? What do they do?
Well, obviously they're in the schools to protect the children and the teachers. First and foremost, they're there to make sure that our children and our teachers are safe. With that, though, some of the bonds that they make with those kids are just as important, if not more, because they're getting a positive interaction with those officers on a daily basis, whether that's shooting hoops for a minute or maybe sitting down and having lunch, or just having a conversation out in the hallway about problems that they're having either at school or at home. And that positive interaction is going to carry through to out on the street when they deal with officers out on the street.
Right. And so if someone is sitting there, should they contact the investigations division directly, or how do they do that?
Obviously, we've got Cedar Valley Crime Stoppers, and if there's information or tips that they want to give, they can give that. That's been huge for us as a police department. But if anyone is a witness to any crime and wants to get involved and wants to help, they can call back to investigations at any time.
Okay.
We will take any phone call. We'll take all the information that we get. We know that we can't do this by ourselves. We need the community, and we need the help.
Well, we appreciate all your efforts. Thank you, Lieutenant McClelland, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk to us about the important work for you and the Waterloo Police Department as you perform for our citizens. And I know that this is only scratching the surface with our conversation today. And the crime statistics show the department is certainly a top performer. So thanks for your dedicated service, and thanks to all in public safety for what they do to serve and protect us. So be safe.
Thank you.
Don't go away. More to come after this.
Each year, 1 in 6 Americans get sick due to a foodborne illness. People can get food poisoning from eating hot food that isn't kept hot, cold food that isn't kept cold, or old food that should be thrown out. If you get sick from eating food made outside your home, report that illness by calling 844-IOWA-SICK. Feeling queasy? Call. It's easy. 844-IOWA-SIC. 844-IOWA-SICK.
We already indicated there is so much to do in Waterloo. How do we sort through all of the places and events we might wish to visit? How do we know when and where they are? One great source for this is the Waterloo Convention and Visitors Bureau, but that is only a part of what the CVB does. Here to tell us more about that is Tavis Hall, Executive Director. So welcome back, Tavis.
All right, thanks for having me.
This is just a great organization, does a lot of great work, but for those that may not know, I know everyone knows what the CVB is, Convention and Visitors Bureau, but just in case, what is the overall purpose and the activities of the Convention and Visitors Bureau?
Well, we actually just adopted a new mission statement.
Okay.
It's 7 words, so it's easy for that to be a guiding light on every decision that we're making.
Even I can remember it?
Even you can remember it.
Oh, wow.
It's to enhance and promote the Waterloo experience. So we do everything that we can to make sure that both folks outside of Waterloo and folks here at home can really experience all that makes Waterloo a great place to live, work, play, and visit.
And so that's the overall purpose.
Yep.
And tell us about the website, the CVB website. We talk about it on every show about how great it is, but tell us about what's on there.
Sure. TravelWaterloo.com is the site, and the calendar piece on there is really robust. So if you're looking for culture and arts, if you're looking for sport events, if you're looking for really anything to do in the Cedar Valley, we've got a ton of really good community partners that are putting their information on that site, and then we're able to have that communication with folks as they come and visit.
So even before someone comes in from a different city, they would have already interacted with the CVB and learned about Waterloo, about what's to do, whether it's museums or whether it's dog parks. I don't know where that came from, but events or special activities that they can all come and find that. And that's important. That's what folks do when they go somewhere, you know, what's going on in that city, and it's great to have such a lively experience when they visit the site. But I'm going to have to read this one in its entirety, this question. Sure. It says, the Waterloo Convention and Visitors Bureau provides knowledge, resources, and services to make a visitor's stay fun and memorable. However, how can CVB help in planning a conference, reunion, group tour, or vacation in Waterloo for visiting family members?
Sure. So we've got sales staff, Paige and Annette are both do sales in our office, and they're doing everything from working with folks with military reunions, working with folks as they're planning family reunions, even weddings, but then they're also going after some of those larger conventions, conferences, and we're helping with from beginning to start. So some of that is making sure that those locations and those organizations pick Waterloo, and then once they choose Waterloo to hold their conference or convention, we're there to sort of walk them through the process, making sure that they've got what they need in order to pull off a successful event.
And I mean, the arms just stretch about so much of the great things that are taking place there. But the CVB is also seeking volunteers for the Waterloo Regional Airport.
Yeah.
What?
So you really just need a love for the city, right? A love for your community.
Right.
And when folks are coming in, they don't always know that this is a good place. This is where you should go check out for shops. This is where you should check out for dinner, for lunch, some nightlife. So it's a really good opportunity for folks to really sort of help bring new folks that are just coming in, maybe just to check out Waterloo, see if they're going to like it. Maybe they don't even know that they're in the market to move to Waterloo, but we'll cross our fingers and hope that they give us a shot, right?
This is a great place for you to come and,
That's right.
and go, and we want you to stay as
That's
well.
right. And so we want those folks to be there, passionate about their community, and sharing that passion with visitors.
And do you accept internships or?
Yes, we do.
And what areas are you looking for?
So we actually just had 2 interns over the summer. A marketing intern, so they were dealing a lot with video and photos. And then we also had an event planning intern. So they worked on one of our conferences really from start to finish and executing some of the interesting pieces that we were able to help bring to the table for that conference.
Right. And are you connected with the Sullivan Brothers Convention Center?
So we do we do some of the sales. So it's one of the venues that convention organizers can plan, can check out. So Waterloo Center for the Arts, the Isle, Convention Center. Those are the spaces and others that are large enough to facilitate some of those larger conferences.
And May is National Tourism Month.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. Who knew, right? No, so we work really closely with the Cedar Falls Tourism, and so we do a joint event where
Cedar Falls, Waterloo working together?
I know, hard to believe.
Yeah, you
hard
have
to believe.
it here, so you know.
So we do this really good event where we have a tourism awards every year, and we've got folks, organizations, and companies from both communities that are recognized through that effort.
All right. And how are local businesses, events, and activities contributing to tourism also?
I mean, it's huge, right? So folks choose Waterloo because of some of the great restaurants that we've got, some of the great nightlife, some of the great experiences that we can provide that are unique, truly unique Iowa experiences. Right. And so we couldn't do it without an incredible amount of help from our small business owners, especially that are putting their blood, sweat, and tears into making sure that they're representing our city great the same way that our residents do.
And you just, you've been a busy executive director has it been a year?
Not yet. Not yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
But rebranding, though, that's something you're looking at right now already, correct?
Yep. So we've been in that process throughout my tenure with the CVB. We've done some research, we've done some studies, community outreach, and really trying to gather information so that we can make sure that the story that we're telling about Waterloo fits the experience that folks are going to come and have.
Right. And so you're a local person to the area, so this is also personal, professional, and personal, because you want to have your best foot forward when you're in the community, but you want to have it for those that are taking a look. But as you look down the road into the future, what are some of the things you see?
You know, I think we're going to be we're in a really interesting spot in Waterloo. We're sort of in a renaissance of sorts.
Right. Not
just downtown with the river loop and all the activities happening there. Certainly University Avenue. Yeah. Hopefully more economic activity happening there. At Crossroads, where we've got quite a few number of hotels, making sure that folks can get to and through those districts both by car and by foot. Right. And so we're excited to help play a part in that and making sure that Waterloo is a great experience for everyone who visits.
Absolutely. So, thank you, Tavis, for stopping by and sharing your enthusiasm for your new job. We owe so much to your organization, the Waterloo Convention and Visitors Bureau, for promoting all the wonderful places and activities that take place regularly in our city. Please join me as we conclude our show. Once again, if you haven't been downtown for a while, you will be surprised at its vitality, diversity of activities, sound, aesthetic, designs, and restorations. So come down and explore, but don't forget to visit the live concerts and entertainment. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Discover your past, present, and future at the Grant Museum District. Explore and play at the Blue Science Imaginarium. This interactive science center provides fun, hands-on exhibits and live science demonstrations. Visitors can explore more than 90 different exhibits and marvel at the aquariums and enclosures that are home to a variety of amphibians, fish, reptiles, snakes, and arachnids. Enjoy both permanent and temporary exhibits at the Grant Museum of History and Science. Take in a planetarium show and learn all about the history of the Cedar Valley. Marvel at the Victorian elegance of the Snowden House and the Rensselaer Russell House Museum. Visit the Sullivan Brothers Iowa Veterans Museum and take in its traditional and interactive displays. Veteran stories are told throughout the museum's mini theaters, interactive maps, dog tag stations, and more. Visit gmdistrict.org for details, hours, and rates.
Well, that's our show. We have an outstanding reference for entertainment, shopping, eating, sporting, events, and other activities.
That's the Waterloo Convention and Visitors Bureau award-winning website, travelwaterloo.com. This website is for visitors and everyone who lives in the area. Take a look. There's so much going on.
And keep in mind, the Waterloo Convention and Visitors Bureau is a not-for-profit organization that promotes the region as a premier destination, welcoming visitors with a personal touch in order to generate jobs, tax revenues, and thus an exceptional quality of life for area residents.
And it's a resource for Waterloo citizens as well to plan family gatherings, reunions, and events. Get first-hand information on lodging for your visitors, where to eat, what events are happening, and where to have your event, indoors or out.
Just a reminder, the school year brings with it traffic safety concerns for inexperienced drivers, school buses, and increased pedestrian traffic. Drivers are reminded that Iowa law now prohibits texting and driving for everyone and prohibits the use of electronic devices, and I mean cell phones.
Please model safe driving for those around you and ensure everyone travels safe in Waterloo. The Waterloo Police will have an increased traffic safety presence in and around area schools to ensure all drivers are extra vigilant.
And remember to tell others that Heart for the City episodes are available for viewing on the City of Waterloo, Iowa, City of Waterloo homepage, cityofwaterlooiowa.com. Also, be sure to like Heart for the City on Facebook. And please join us next time. And thanks for watching Heart for the City. Until then, I think you'll agree, it's a great day to be in Waterloo.